Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I want to thank you for joining us for another episode of Up Close and Personal with Angela on behalf of Aspiring Authors Magazine. Of course, I am Angela Thomas Smith. I'm the founder of AALAC, which is the African American Author Literacy Awareness Campaign, and the CEO of Aspiring Authors Magazine. Well, my desire is to bring awareness to brown authors all over this world and to touch on topics that's affecting our brown community that other people don't want to talk about. So over the last month and a half, going on 2 months, we have been sharing some amazing brown individuals across this world that's impacting their community and doing things to bring change. We have decided to be the change that we desire. So I'm super excited today to introduce to you guys another amazing individual that's doing her part in impacting her community. She's going to be sharing with you guys exactly who she is, what she's doing, and how she's leaving her legacy. So I'm going to bring up Michelynn Moss to share just a little bit about herself. Hello, 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 hello. How are you today?
Oh, I'm great. Such a pleasure to be here and an honor to be being interviewed by you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to tell you just to share just a little bit about yourself, if you would.
Okay, my name is Michelynn Moss. I live in Memphis, Tennessee. I born in Pittsburgh, grew up in New Jersey, and always dreamed about writing and finally had an opportunity. I am a wife and mother of three sons, a grandmother of seven. I have three girls and four boys, and just love spending time with them and helping them to be more acclimated into reading and wanting to write. And I'm hoping that I will be doing a children's book with my granddaughters. So that's the next thing that I'm thinking of.
Wow.
So I've also been in about going on six collaborations and anthologies. Two are with you, and I appreciate you letting me share my story about domestic violence and having the platform to do so, because I only shared that with close friends and family. And that story was always kind of like a secret, from shame and guilt and me feeling like, well, I was stupid to stay in that situation, so I never did. But by doing your book, it brought up a lot of emotions, and it was really like a like therapy for me and a freeing experience to be able to get that off my chest and hopefully help other women that may be going through, to let them know they're not alone. We all know it takes a minute to get out that situation, but you can, And now the platform is different. Where I know for me, it wasn't really any place for me to go, or I had old school women, maybe telling me go back home, you can deal with it. It's just the way it is. And so that was what I did until one day I just decided to I had two sons at the time. They were like one and two. And I took them in a book bag of clothes, and I just left everything, in my home and gone. And that was the best thing that I ever could have done.
Wow.
Hmm.
I applaud anyone that share their journey and are transparent about domestic violence because I am a domestic violence survivor as well, and I come across people all the time. We were hosting a clubhouse on last night, and powerful. I tell you, week before last, we had a young lady, and we're normally on for just an hour, but we were on for 2 hours trying to assist
Wow.
this young lady because she was in a situation and she needed to get out.
Hmm.
So what we do is we try to provide resources and we try to bring people on that share their testimony, because sometimes we think that we may be the only person that's going through it, but in reality, there's somebody right now that's being abused.
Yes.
There's somebody right now that's suffering through just what we've been through. But because we have been silent for so long and chose not to speak out, people just didn't speak out. You
Yeah.
know, they had that mentality, what goes on in my home, stay in my home.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's what we've been brought up. But I'm so glad that we have these platforms like this and
Yes.
some of the other platforms that allow us to share and be open and allow us a place where we won't be judged.
Oh yeah.
Because me, even after being involved in the domestic violence situation, I went back. And that's not just my story, it's
Mm,
a lot of people's story. But
yeah.
people need to hear our stories so that they won't go down the roads that we went down and know that there are options, because we stayed because we didn't think there were options,
Yeah.
because people didn't openly talk about these things,
Not
you
at all.
know.
Not at all.
So definitely I applaud you for doing what you're doing and sharing and being transparent. I'd like to ask people, what made you say, I just want to be an author? I want to write. Was it about creating legacy, or did you want to be the author of your story? You didn't want nobody else telling your story.
I first and foremost, when I was in elementary school, I thought, I was something special because my librarian would call me out of class to come and get new books that came in. And the other kids can get like one book a week. She would let me take two and three books, or she would always say, "This is something I think you would like." So other kids probably wanted to win awards and get the trophy from the basketball team or whatever. But I was just so excited about getting the books. And then I also had an older brother who is deceased now, and he introduced me to the Harlem Renaissance. So that was when I read about Langston Hughes and different poetry, and so that's where my love of reading came in. But I always thought it was like something special to actually have your words in a book, or your face, or just something about you in there, and I dreamed of being that person, but I never knew how to get there. So I had journals and diaries, and I would write stuff in it, and that would be as far as it would go. And then I remember when I was in elementary school, I read this little book, and I decided to turn it into a play. So, being that I'm originally from the North, we had attics. We don't have that here in Memphis. And I charged people probably, I don't know, a quarter or whatever. And they came in, and me and my brothers and probably my friend from the neighborhood, we put on a play. So I always liked acting and being creative. So I still would write, just put it away. Then when I got in high school, I did write for our high school newspaper, which I didn't really think that was a big deal either. I'm just thinking, well, somebody has to do it. And just like you sign up for cheerleading or the debate club, I just signed up for that to see how it would go. And so that was probably like the first time I seen like my name in print. So I still didn't do anything, but I would also go to like a lot of open mics. And, my friends would say, get up there and say something. And I did. And the hosting, or the featured poets, they had books and CDs. And, people came up to me and said, well, where's yours at? And I'm like, I don't have any. And so then, just as time passed, still did nothing. But I have a friend, she lives in Georgia, and she put on Facebook, this was maybe about 2 years ago, that she was doing a collaboration. And I saw it, and I felt like God was talking to me. But you know how, you want to be disobedient, or He knows when you're ready, but you don't feel you're ready because He made us, so He knows our time. So I finally responded to her, and the book was called Wake Up Girlfriends. And we each told a different girlfriend experience. And so I think that that's where like the bug bit me, or I caught it then. So first of all, I was so like happy of this accomplishment. And when you say legacy, we had our book signing in Georgia, and that's where my granddaughters live. And at the time, they were about 4 and 5, 5 and 6. So I bought them there because I wanted them to see that you're never too old to do anything. Whatever is your gift and talent or your purpose or your plan, it's going to happen. So I wanted them to see, like, look at your grandma. She did something, at the age of probably was like 56, at the time. So from there, I kept saying I wanted to write my own book, which the children's book, I wanted it to be about them. But procrastination, and trying to talk myself out of it, I kept putting it on hold. So just this year, I became a number one best-selling author in an anthology called Finding Joy in the Journey. And it's 90 authors in that book. And we were just recently featured in Times Square on a billboard, so that was exciting to go up there, and see your name and lights and everything. Um, I also did an audio book called, again, a collaboration, Confinement Chronicles, and it was about mental health during the pandemic. So I know for me, I was depressed. I couldn't go where I wanted to go or see or do what I wanted to do. And during that time, my oldest son, who he's 38 now, last December, he lost his sight. He had a very high blood pressure and intracranial hypertension, which he wasn't even aware that he had. So that was like a devastating time for our family. So that added to the depression. I'm in another book called I Testify, and in that book, I tell the story of how our family went through him and grieving our lives that we used to know, and trying to just get accustomed to that. And so I just was like, well, I'm taking the baby steps to learn how to write, how to put it together, and with great inspirational people like you and people who have a vision. I was so grateful to be a part of that. And now that we're sorrow sisters and we have to have accountability partners. I talked to mine today who said she was going to hold me accountable of doing, my own project. So that's the plan. I want to do the children's book, but really a book I want to birth is I want to write about being more blessed than bruised. So that's going to be a book of my own that I'm trying to work on. But just basically, the legacy is, like you said, bringing brown people to the forefront, because me being introduced to the Harlem Renaissance at probably like 8, 9 years old, and I saw just things that they had to go through to get their voices heard. And I want to continue that and just, reach back and bring up somebody behind me. And also, I grew up in a town where they had this organization called Each One Teach One. And so, that's what I want to do. So I'm still a babe in this writing world. But I'm going to tell you, I'm just so honored to say I'm an author. When people ask me, at first I was a little hesitant and trying to be humble about it, but you basically want to shout it from the rooftops, that you're doing that. And anytime you can share your story, which you asked, did I want like my voice to be heard? It's like I read somewhere where it said, if you don't see the story out there that you want to be told, then you tell it. So I'm trying to do that too. So I just want to encourage and inspire, and women at my church, they have started like saying, "Oh, I want to write," and different things, and any way that I can help them or share what somebody taught me, that's the plan. That's what I'm going to do.
Wow. That's what I tell people. It's all about paying it forward.
Yes.
And I decided that I didn't want anybody telling my story. I
Yep.
wanted to tell my story because oftentimes things get left out, you
Yeah.
know, and no one can tell your story like you. So that's why I tell everybody, write one book. If you just write one book in your life, just so somebody will have something in print about you and not something that everybody say.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
yeah.
Because like I watched your other podcast with Free Flow,
Hmm.
is that her name? And
Uh-huh.
and you were talking about like people told us who we were and what to think and how to dress and all of that. And it's like, but that's your story, or that's your version of me. And even as parents, which I'm guilty of it as well, we may have children and say, I want them all to be a doctor or a lawyer, but that's not who they are, and that's not what they want to be. So I kind of got tired of people telling me, which way I should go and how I should think and how I should feel, and then being in bad relationships, and it crushed my self esteem, or it made me think I was this person that I wasn't, when I know I was, this is who I really am, but I just went with what you said, and now like the days is over for me, where I'm going to be who God intended me to be and walk that walk that he planned for me to walk. And if I have to leave people behind while I do it, it's just going to happen, because I know that everybody can't go where you're going. Everybody's not going to go to that next level. And in that process, it's really sad and hurtful, because it may be like the person that you love the most, and they're not celebrating your accomplishments. And I know for me, there's things that I wouldn't say because I really didn't want to come off like I'm bragging or something. But it's like, this is my story. This is what God blessed me with. Maybe this is my week season to shine, and you're going to have yours, and I'm going to be the biggest cheerleader when you have yours. So I mean, so that process is kind of sad and lonely, and and I'm kind of dealing with it right now. But also just worrying about me practicing self-love, self-growth, um, redemption of things that should have been, that I didn't do when I should have done it. So I'm also playing catch up and make up to things that I knew that was for me. And so now I'm just riding that wave, and I'm taking God with me, or he's taking me with him. And it's just like pray, and like it's like once so now I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And also, um, for me, it's not all about the money either. It's like the therapy and me just getting my story out and off my chest, where as long as is making my head better, my emotional, my mental, because with mental illness and depression and different things, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole anymore. And when I feel that, like, I try to just like catch myself and be like, okay, and go to the Lord in prayer. And yesterday I had wrote on a post where before I did used to go to the phone, tell all my problems to my friends and family who probably didn't care. So now it's like I don't go to the phone, I go to the throne. So I get all my um, words of wisdom and confidence from him who made me. So that's my new attitude, and I'm sticking with it. and they can come on along with me, or go do them, because this is what I'm doing. So I'm just going to receive the goodness that's been coming in my life, and what God has done for me, and those handful of people who have made it happen for me. I am so grateful and thankful for them. And the others, I still love you. If I gotta love you from a distance, that's what it's gonna be. But right now, God said, this is the plan that I have for you, and I have to do what He says. So that's,
Saying Jeremiah 29:11 is real. I keep telling people. He said,
uh-huh.
I got a plan for you to prosper you, for you to be in good health, for you to have hope in the future. And his word is not going to return to him void. He's going to watch over into his perfected in you and in this earth. And I keep telling people, you take him for a joke if you want to. And he knows everything that we need is already on the inside of us.
Yeah.
And we just will not accept it and will not understand. If you go over to Genesis 2:7, he said he breathed the breath of life in us. So that means a part of him is already on the
Oh
inside
yeah.
of us. All we got to do
Oh
is tap
yes.
into the source. He is the source, but we won't even pick up our word. We
Yes.
won't even pick up the Bible and read it. We won't even try to connect. Won't even spend time in prayer. I'm
Yes.
telling
Yes.
you, I'm telling people right now, get signed up for the 121 days of prayer. I know God is gonna move because he moved last year.
Yeah.
Well, this year, February the 1st through June 1st. Ain't that the nobody told me. I watched how God um one of our line sisters,
Mm-hmm.
Shaneria Osborne, she was one of the prayer warriors.
Okay.
And during this process, her and her husband built a house from the ground up in the middle
Uh,
of a pandemic.
now that's
Now
definitely good.
you
Yeah.
tell
Half the
me
people didn't have
5
food.
a.m., 5 a.m. prayer. She was there. And she didn't even do the whole 121 days because somebody that had committed to the project dropped out and she took their place. She
Okay.
said, I'll do it.
That's a blessing.
And she said, she
Testimony.
said, I don't even, she said, I really don't even know how to pray. But she sacrificed. She got up at 5 a.m. She was there every morning. Me, her, and Pam. Every morning, 5 a.m. Sacrifice. And I watched how God moved in their life.
Yes.
Ain't nothing nobody told me. When he dropped Psalms 121 in my spirit, I'm telling you, yeah, I struggled with that thing. I struggled with them three words: learn, love, lead. I say, people not finna want to be a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, I will not be disobedient this time.
And
I
you have
put
a
it out
big
there. I
platform.
just threw the words out there. I just threw the words out there. And then he began to do it. I mean, one day I put the words out there, then he broke down what learn was. Then the next day he broke down what love was. Then the next day he broke down what lead was. Every
Mm-hmm.
one of those words, every letter, he did that. Ain't nothing. I just said, okay. I'm telling you, when I went over there and I read in my word in Exodus, I think it's Exodus 4:9, where it said, if you just open your mouth, he'll
Yes.
speak for you. You
Yes.
ain't got to know what to say. I
Yes.
tell people all the time, I'm not no Bible thumper. I don't know. I have to go. Sometimes I have to look at my coordinates. I have to look and
Oh
find
yeah.
stuff myself.
Oh yes. Oh
But
yes.
half of the time I come on these lives, I come on these things, and I be on said all this stuff, and I look at that, I be like, who is that? I be like, oh,
Well, you
I
definitely
didn't know that.
have a beautiful platform and all the things that you're doing, So yes, God is definitely blessing
God
you.
is good.
Mm-hmm.
I
All
just
the time.
he when he dropped these words in my spirit, he dropped that word power in my spirit. That P stands for position. The O stands for overcome. The W stands for a willing vessel. The E stands for empower. The R stands for resilient. And the S stands for servant.
Yes. Yes.
He set you up. He's
Yeah.
positioned you. He give you opportunities. But we still waiting on Psalm 121. We waiting on it. We looking up to this when he already know all your blessings is right here. Everything that
Yeah.
you need is already here. Ain't nothing new finna be formed under the
Uh,
sky.
oh no. Like one thing I had to tell myself recently is what you keep running from.
Mm,
Like just stop it. Like all of that is old. that's not you. That was nothing but the devil telling you what you could and cannot do. So it's just like now my feet are planted. And, I'm not looking back. I'm not worrying about the woulda, shoulda, couldas, and, what happened
But
in
can
my.
I ask you a question? You
Yes,
say you was running. What was you running from? Yourself. Because
yes,
he in
yes,
he
yes,
you can't run from him
yes,
because he right
yes.
here. He everywhere you go, you just running in circles. And he
Yeah.
just sitting there, he just sitting there like, okay,
Hmm.
she
Hmm.
gonna stop one day, boy. She gonna
Yeah.
stop one day. She gonna stop going around herself and just say, okay,
Yeah.
I surrender.
And that was it. I was running from myself, where no, I'm not good enough. I don't think I can do that. I'm not ready to do that. I'm not built like that, and just recently I'm just like I'm tired. My knees is getting bad and my hips is hurting. So I'm like, no, no, no more running. Stay planted, do what he said. And if I would have did it a long time ago, my life would have been different, but I know there's time for this and a time for that. So in
Everything.
this season, I'm finally listen.
Everything. Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, I kept wondering, like this Soulful Metamorphosis project that I'm working on now. That that book was supposed to be out. That book was supposed to been out before any of the other projects was dropped because
Oh.
all of those projects are a spinoff of this book. Because the L's, the learn, the love, and the lead, it
Uh-huh.
comes from the L in soul and the two L's in full.
Okay.
That's where it came from. Like when he dropped that Soulful Metamorphosis project in my spirit, that's where learn, love, and lead. That whole movement came from this project that's about to drop in December. Now let me show you how. Let me show you how you just have to let God be who He is, and you have to just let things be. Delay does not mean denial, because let me tell you, my cousin passed away on October the 1st. I mean October the 11th. That
Sorry.
was my best friend. That was my brother. That was like that hit my soul. Like that shook me.
Mm-hmm.
I and I've experienced death. I've been experiencing death since 89 when I lost my first cousin. That was the first close family member I lost in my life.
Yes.
And then every year I lost somebody after that. I lost my mom 12 days after my 16th birthday in 1991.
Wow.
Every single year it was somebody after that. May 2017, I lost 6 family members. 3 to suicide. One was only 14 years old. She committed suicide the day before Mother's Day.
Wow.
And then
Breaking.
2 weeks later, 2 cousins. One I seen on Wednesday. That Friday, I was at work and got the phone call. The same restaurant I had seen him, his wife, and his child in. I got that same phone call that Friday telling me that he had committed suicide. And then on Memorial Day, I was sitting at family friend's house and went on Facebook and discovered that my cousin had committed suicide that day
That's
in
terrible.
2017. Not to mention, I lost my grandmother that same month, and I
Wow.
lost two more. Two more. I lost a cousin in Philadelphia, and then I lost a cousin in upstate South Carolina.
That's a lot
6 family members,
in
and
1 year.
I kept on going. 2020, well, 2019, the day before Mother's Day, I lost my dad.
Wow.
2020, getting ready to go live on my broadcast to host my morning inspirational show from 8 to 10. I get a phone call. My brother gone. But I did my show. I kept going. And they say, Angela, how you keep smiling? How you keep pressing? When
They
God
just
dropped that
wanted you to do
word,
that anyway.
pain for purpose, not pain to purpose.
Yes.
Pain for purpose.
Yes. Yes.
Because he reminded me of the wheel in the wheel. You wonder why every time you fall, you pick yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's purposed you. He's called you. That means he's equipped you for this. You can't
Mm-hmm.
give up,
Yes.
no
Yes.
matter what it looked like in the natural. But people keep looking up to the hills. Ain't nothing coming out the sky. Ain't no white horse coming. Ain't no carriage coming. Ain't none of that coming. Everything you need is already in you. You
That's
got
right.
to you have to position yourself. So that
Yes.
means he give you these gifts and these talents. See, people get Jeremiah 1 and 5 twisted when he say that we should be prophets to the nation. Everybody think we supposed to be out here prophesying and speaking over people's
Mm-hmm.
lives and prophet lying. That's what most of them be
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
But that's not what that means. He said he's given us gifts and talents.
Yes.
And if you allow what's on the inside of you, if you allow those gifts and talents that he's placed on the inside of you, they gonna speak for you. You ain't even got to open your mouth.
Amen.
They're gonna speak for you.
Amen.
Your work shall speak for you. He
Yes.
said he will make what? Room for your what?
Mm-hmm.
But we get it twisted. We
Yes.
literally read this word and we take it for what it say. We go over there and we see where it talk about John. We can't put ourselves in that place. We going over there and think so we don't receive what it's saying.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And he say, look to the hills, look to the hills. He telling you to look up there and be reminded.
Yes.
Huh, be
That's where your
reminded.
help comes from. Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
don't think something coming out of there. But you be reminded that I'm there
yes.
and what I
Yes.
can do. All this belong to me.
Amen. Amen.
Hmm.
You just said something powerful too about pain for purpose, because when I was saying my son lost his sight, um, of course it's painful, but we're trying to deal with the positive of it. But with him, his spirits are better than mine. He's okay. He does acting on a web series, and so he continued to do so. And they're not treating him like a blind actor. They're like, you need to walk 10 steps. If you walk 11, you're going to knock the cameraman over. And then also, he has to really memorize his lines, from the gate. So he's taking his pain. He's still doing his purpose. His My granddaughter, she actually is a little internet sensation for basketball. She's been dribbling since, I don't know, she's 2, 3 years old, and she's been featured on the Steve Harvey show and Access Hollywood and other shows. And he trained her and got her to that point. And then we were like, oh boy, what's going to happen? But he still trains her, even though he can't see. He said he can hear how the ball is, and he started an AAU team. So I'm just saying he didn't just let the pain bring him down. He's doing a purpose, and he's bringing us along with him, for that, and letting us see that life isn't over. And like you said, what God put in you is there. So whether you can see or hear or whatever, it doesn't stop the progress and or the process. And we'll see why this was done, to for the better, of him or his family, or the other little girls around him that he helped to put on this team. So, but yes, thank you for that,
Because
for
all
for
things
saying
work together for the good.
yes,
Yeah, all things, not some things,
yes,
all things. So
yes,
it's
hallelujah.
good is coming out of this for a whole lot of people, not just for your son and not
Mm-hmm.
just for you. It's gonna be a whole lot of people in that community, even around the world, that's gonna be impacted because you
Yes.
never know who's watching you. You never know who need that little nugget.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised at who tune in to different little stuff
Yeah.
and
Yes.
who people are connected to that may know somebody that may know somebody
Yes,
and
that's
who may
true.
want to share your story. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? We can never, I say we, a lot of us, we sit and we waiting for something to happen. We waiting on people and it's
Yeah,
not going to happen.
that's
We got
so
to step
true.
out on faith. I'm telling you, if I had a did this some years ago, my journey would be a whole lot different. But I'm glad this journey has been exactly what it is because a little old girl from Levelland, South Carolina, country girl, one
Uh-huh.
way in, one way out.
Okay.
Everybody on my street was either my first cousin or my second cousin. 252 acres. That's
Wow.
all. Did nobody come down through that fooling because we knew who you was, and if you was not one of us, you didn't come
I,
down that street.
I hear you. I hear you.
So that's just how the country girl. Who would have thought I would have been? a commissioner of a network, let alone host a show on that same network
Uh-huh.
and broadcast before over 10 million people now
Yes.
and been on the
You're
network for 2
definitely
years.
doing your thing. It's no question about that. You're doing
Who
your
would have thought I would have a magazine? Even the organization and able to help promote authors. Because when I started this, I was just doing a summer program, trying to give our youth an opportunity to stay active during the summer so that they wouldn't be a part of the statistics,
yes.
and wanted them to bridge the gap of learning from summer to when they go back to school. Didn't want my babies to lose out,
Yes.
because our brown babies lose out during the summertime because they
Oh
don't
yeah.
have the advancement that a lot of the other races have as far
Yes.
as education and
Yes.
tutoring, because our most of our parents, they got to go to work. So you gonna be with your grandmama, or if you can afford to go to a program, you gonna go to a program. And most of
Uh-huh.
those programs ain't doing nothing but then you play games, then you play
Yeah.
and not doing educational stuff. But I wanted something different. So God allowed me the opportunity to partner with this other young lady, and we did a program, and it was a spiritual based program. We told the parents before they come, if your kids can't read scripture and they can't pray, then you might not want them to come here, because we read scripture and we pray. But
That's
I
right.
tell you, some of those kids did not know how to pray when they first came, but when they left, they didn't
Oh,
want to go home on Fridays. They wanted to go home with Miss Angela
uh-huh.
and Miss Tina, and and they would make their parents wait. They
Wow.
parents would come in and sit down and have to wait on them kids until they was ready to go home.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a beautiful thing.
But my
Hmm.
baby was not interested in reading, because they said that they can relate to those kids, and they that wasn't them, and they didn't like that.
That wasn't a
So,
cool thing to do. Like it wasn't cool to read.
but when I found some brown books and they saw themselves in those books,
Oh yeah.
they got interested and they
Hmm.
started reading, and they could tell me what was in on them pages. They could
Yeah.
tell me who was on the front cover, and they could
Uh-huh.
even tell me some of the character names.
Uh-huh.
So that really, I wasn't even an author then, and that made me start the organization and to bring awareness to more authors and to start doing events. So I started hosting workshops and hosting what I call um, Chasing Your Dream book tour. And we just went to different cities and states, and we hosted these workshops where we brought authors together. We gave them opportunity to market their brands. For those that didn't have the marketing and the branding skills, we brought in people that talked about marketing, that talked about branding, that helped them
Hmm.
build things around their books, because I didn't want them to just have a book and to continue to go to these events to be vendors, but I wanted them to be entrepreneurs. I wanted them to build brands around their books and to be able to have platforms. So I wanted them to develop um speaking platforms. I wanted them to develop different things like coaching programs and
Yeah.
different things from their book that people can really get to know them.
Yeah.
And when people get to know you, it some of them don't even care what's on these pages.
Uh-huh.
Because when they get to know you, I had a lady from California tell me one day, she said, Angela, she said, I want two of those. I say, two of what? She said, whatever you just posted. I said, she said, I don't care. She said, Angela, if it's the blank pages, she said, because I support what you're doing. And I
Yes.
support your vision. She said, I
Yes.
don't care if it's blank pages and you put it out. She said, I'm gonna buy it just because
Yes.
I support you. And I
Yeah.
tell you, when you build that rapport with people, and you build that relationship with people, when people can trust you and
Hmm.
have that genuine connection with you,
Yes.
they will follow and support you to the ends of this earth.
Yes. Because
That's
you
why I
can
tell
clearly
people,
see your heart is pure, so it's a
be who you
no-brainer.
are.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be who you are. You know, we make mistakes,
Yeah.
stuff happens,
Yeah.
but it's all about communicating. It's all about keeping the lines of communication open. If something happened, pick up the phone, call me, let me know something happened, and we can
Mm-hmm.
work it out. And
Yeah.
people they are afraid to approach me sometime because they go to other platforms, and if you don't have the feed that you're supposed to have,
Hmm.
then they automatically shut you down. And they figure I'm the same way. But I've had people reach out to me and they say, "Well, Angela, I don't have the fee for this, but I want to be a part of this. Is this something you can do?"
Hmm.
Yes. Just let me know what you want me to do,
Okay.
and I got you.
Okay.
And that's what we do, because it's not about me. I don't know if it was you or somebody else that said that they don't do this for the money. I
Uh,
don't do this for the money.
hmm.
When God rose me up off my bed of affliction and gave me the opportunity to share
Yes.
his goodness, because
Yeah.
it's a privilege
Oh,
for me to
yes.
be able to share his goodness, because the enemy
Yes.
tried to take
Preach.
me out of here.
Oh, yes.
But he gave me another opportunity. He extended his grace and his mercy one more time. So today I'm pouring out all I can pour out. People say, Angela, you share too much. I can't, because if I died tomorrow, all
Yes.
this that I got on the inside of me do nobody no good, because I can't give it to them
Yes.
because I'm gone.
Yes.
My spirit will live on, but my spirit can't teach nobody nothing. My spirit
Exactly.
can't do nothing that he allowed me, this physical body, he allowed me to come
Hmm.
here. He
Yeah.
gave me the opportunity to come here and to make a difference and to do his will, to do his work.
And you're
So when I
just,
lay down, I want to be empty. So I said, he can fill
yes.
me up while I sleep, fill me up
Yes.
afresh. So when
Yeah.
I get up in the morning, that is
Hmm.
going to be a new.
Yes. Hallelujah. Yes, Lord.
But I want you. I'm excited. Definitely excited. I was excited to have you here today. Especially now that you are my new Sarah.
Yes. Yes. Woohoo. Yes. Wait. I did that and I was sounding kind of crazy, but I'm practicing. I'm practicing.
Look,
Yes.
I guess I got plenty of practice, because I was in a non-Greek sorority in at Morris Brown. I'm actually a Q Pearl, so we like the little sisters to the Omega Pearls.
Yes.
I mean, to
Yes.
the Omega.
I
So
was one of those.
so we used to get a lot of practice.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yes, I'm excited. Excited for this new adventure, and meeting these new sisters and getting the opportunity to
I think that I was on your page and I think I saw the if they were having like the informational or and so I was like, oh, let me check this out because I was in this other so-called Christian sorority, um, not for very long, but nothing in it was Christian. you know we didn't even talk about God, never. And I was telling my Wendy, my account, Miss Sensational, Queen Sensational, that I stayed in it. And in the book Joy in the Journey, I wrote about how I sold my soul to the devil for $1,000 because that's how much we had to pay to get in. And even though I wasn't feeling it, I was like, no, I spent my money, I'm going to stay in here. But my soul was just so, I don't even know how to explain it, just it wasn't me. So when I decided to leave, I said God took me out of Egypt, and and I moved on. So when I seen this, because this just happened maybe like a year or so ago, I ended up suing them, and getting my money back because I felt like it was breach of contract and you didn't do or say what you didn't give me what you said you were going to do. So anyway, when I saw this one, I was like, it was some hesitancy, but when I read what she was about in the first question I asked her is, what's your pledging process? Because we pledged for like months. They hazed us. I didn't know that was hazing, at the time. So when I saw this, I was like, let me see. And I was telling my husband just these past couple days, I'm like, wow, with the praying and the love and the encouragement and just who the women are and what they represent and their belief, in God. And I'm like, okay, this is a better fit for me. So I'm going to thank you for that as well. Because if I didn't see it on your page, I wouldn't have even tried to, investigate it and check it out. So that's why I'm saying, like, this has just been a beautiful process. Like, this has been a good year, very, very good year. Minus, like I said, this my son thing, but just the doors that have been opening and the opportunity, and I'm just saying it's people who are truly grounded, in what they do, and just really lean on the Lord, and they know that's where their help comes from. So if I could surround myself with those people, that's the plan. Also, I was talking earlier about where it said if you're not in a room with people who are smarter than you or doing what you're doing, you're in the wrong room. So I'm trying to be in the room with, you beautiful ladies who can help to bring me up and teach me what you know, and I'm always open to learn. So I thank you again for that. I appreciate it.
I tell you, I didn't understand when he dropped "Learn, Love, Lead" in my spirit, but we have to get in our spirit that we are always learning because this world is
Hmm.
forever evolving,
Yes, yes,
and we just gonna have to be teachable. And if you're not willing to be teachable, then you're not gonna be able to go to that next level. And
yeah,
then we got to learn how to move in love because
yeah.
love covers a multitude of sin.
Oh, yes,
Love draws,
yes,
and that's one of the greatest commandments. He said, "Love thy neighbor as I love thyself."
yes, yes.
So I tell people all the time, we want to be leaders, but we
You
don't
got
want to
to
do
learn.
what we have to do to be leaders. And then when
Got
we
to
become
serve
leaders,
first. Yeah.
we don't want the people that we raise up to be leaders because when you become a leader, you're raising up more leaders. And
Mm-hmm.
when those leaders get to a point to where they are leaders, then you got to be willing to let them go so that they can go out and lead and bring up more people. But we don't want to allow the circle to grow. It's like we think the circle get broken. But if you look at it, and if you are a true leader,
Mm-hmm.
if you bring up 10 people and
Mm-hmm.
those 10 people raise up 10 people, then that's 20 people.
Yes.
No, that's 100 people because each one of them raising up 10 people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then there you go. You got
Yeah.
100 people under you
Yeah.
because people always gonna look to the person that taught them for
Yeah.
guidance. I do. I have so many
Yeah.
mentors that I pull on. I don't care how far I go, and some of them tell me that they be looking at me now,
Mm-hmm.
but I still look for them
Yes. Yes.
because I know where I come from.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
know I didn't get here alone. And that's why I tell people you can't be on this journey by yourself. He didn't when Jesus was out here, he went out here alone. He had 12 disciples.
Exactly.
So how
Exactly.
you think you supposed to do this by yourself?
Yes. Yes. So
Hmm.
true.
I'm glad I got 39 sisters.
Yes, me too. Me
I'm
too. And
so glad I got 39 sisters that I can call on. So I am super,
yes.
super, super. Um, Before we leave, I want you to share how individuals can follow you, how they can support some of your projects. If you have a website, your social media links, how they can connect with you.
My social media for Facebook is Michelynn Missy Jones Moss. Um, and my Instagram is Michelynn Missy. And my website is www.michelinmoss.org. So you can find me at any of those places. I'm also on LinkedIn under Michelynn Moss as well.
Cool, cool, cool. And your books are on your website.
Yes, yes, and also on I have an author's page. They're on Facebook and Instagram, so they're on all of my little
And your
media.
author's page is on Amazon. Is it listed under your name?
Well, in the on Amazon, you can find my books, but they're basically under the person who started the project. So
Mm-hmm.
if you contact me, I mean, if you go on there and get it, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But yes, all of them are on Amazon. But I would prefer that you contact
I
me.
prefer that too. So
Yeah.
this is what I tell people. You can go look on Amazon if you want to like check us out. You can
Yes.
go check us out and see our books on Amazon. But I always ask people to support the author firsthand because you can get an autographed copy from them
Yes.
and you directly support them. When you go through Amazon, we make pennies.
Yeah.
And we starve. But if you support us, it does us a whole lot better. So
Well, I
I
just want
always
to hold
urge
up
you.
this great book, beautiful book. So, that's one that I think is so lovely.
Oh,
Yeah. So, and this one is by the first book I did, and here is the one that made us be a bestseller.
that was what Miss Vanessa, right?
Yes, yes,
Blackwell.
yeah. She's doing another project for next year called Joy in the Morning. So she's looking for people, now to be a part of that for um, next year. And I think I shared that we're going to be on a billboard in Atlanta for I think November 15th to January 15th with that book.
Hmm.
So it's been cool. All of the books, it's kind of hard because I've had like back to back books where I'm trying to tell my friends and family like just get them all, But like I said, it's just been a joy for me, and it's just touched my heart, and it just made me just feel like hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing, and just have fun. So I'm just having fun. That's all,
It
and
is.
hoping I can touch somebody, and they can be a better person or a better situation from reading all of them. So
Exactly. Well, you're
it's
definitely touching lives. You're definitely making a difference. I thank you for being a part of the change that you desire to see. When God dropped that in my spirit, heal the city and heals.
mm-hmm.
Stomping out domestic violence was the first one. Um, but there are going to be plenty more projects because that word heal, when he dropped that word in my spirit, I just can't let it go. People
Yeah.
got to stop allowing hindrance to
Mm,
affect their ego and their attitude, and they got to
yeah.
move in love, and that's the only way we're going to be able to heal. So
Yes.
I'm just grateful that um, that he using us the way he is. So thank
Yes.
you for being who you are,
Thank
my
you.
Sarah.
Oh yeah. We gotta have some fun and some
Yes,
good
I'm
time.
excited.
Yes.
Definitely excited about getting to share you guys because I definitely am going to be working with you guys since we are sisters and this is what I do.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm definitely going to be working with you guys and the founder to see what I can do to help promote us as
And
authors within.
congratulations on your award she gave you.
Oh,
You
thank you.
definitely deserve that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, if there's anything that you would like to leave inspirational with them before we close out.
I would just say be yourself. That's all you can really be. Trust in the Lord. Maybe you should just be a little bit more forthcoming and listening to Him and not waiting like I did. And just be yourself. And like you said, lead in love because love, that's all we have, and it's a beautiful thing. And just just love one another. That's all I have to say. And be yourself.
Amen. Amen. Well, I have definitely enjoyed you on today's Sarah. I look forward to sharing you across my platform. So thank you.
Thank you, Queen. Collaboration. Yeah. Okay.
I want to thank you guys for tuning in today to another episode of Up Close and Personal with Angela. I tell you, I have definitely enjoyed my Sarah on today. Please, y'all, go over and support her on her website. We're gonna share her links in the comment section. So if y'all would please go over and support her. Check out some of her projects and see what she have coming up. She definitely has some amazing projects. So definitely check her out. Again, I want to thank you guys for supporting AALAC and Aspiring Authors Magazine. I am Angela Thomas Smith. I love you guys. Be blessed.
Thank you. Bye bye.